and welcome to the SpartanMag.com VCast. Jim Comparoni and Neil Koepke, one of the great all-time college hockey writers in the history of the sport. Great to have him here with us on a great night for hockey in East Lansing. Michigan State, number 7 in the country. They defeat Notre Dame. What was the score, Neil? 5-2, empty net.
5-2 with an empty net. Right?
Empty net. Yeah. Neil's known me since I was 19 years old, and it's great to have him here with me. Great day here. You've seen a lot of them here over the years, especially this year.
Yep.
Another packed house. I think attendance 6,555.
Standing room only. Yep.
Sold out. Standing room only. The suites were also pretty packed. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just a great atmosphere.
Seats too. Yeah.
Friday night in December, you can't beat it here for college hockey. What did you think of the night in general?
It was a great night. It was one of those nights where, again, Michigan State hasn't had many of these over the past few seasons, but this year it's basically not even just trending. It's every week, every weekend. And the Spartans have not lost at home all year. They've had one tie, and they probably should have won that game against Penn State. But the atmosphere is just great. The Spartans can score. They can defend. Sometimes a little itchy there, but they come out with a lot of skill and a lot of spirit. And everybody sort of on this team loves to play, and nobody really needs to be the hero because the scoring, Jim, is really diverse. The stars are scoring, but so are the guys on what you call the third and fourth lines. They're contributing.
So Neil Koepke, he covered Michigan State hockey for the Lansing State Journal for years. Prior to that, Michigan, going back to
50 years actually, and now 52 if you want to call newspaper and now media, radio, TV.
He's the best there ever was, best there ever will be right here. It's great to have him with us. I mentioned to Nightingale after the game about his quote-unquote third line. He doesn't call it a third line, but they're so productive all year with Red Savage transfer and O'Connell, a freshman, and Joey Larson, sophomore transfer from Northern Michigan. Larson with a big shot today that was, I think, maybe the turning point. It might have been a 1-1 game.
Yeah, exactly.
He took a one-timer and just rifled that one. And great goalie for Notre Dame, Bischel. Is that his name, Bischel?
Ryan Bischel, right.
Good rebound.
Yep.
Gives up a big rebound because the shot just blistered it. Gets his own rebound, scores, goes up 2-1. Michigan State led the rest of the way, but it was tight here and there. But Larson, sophomore, Northern Michigan, like a 21-year-old sophomore.
Yeah.
We talked about him during intermission. A guy that was Mr. Hockey in the high school ranks at Heartland High School, won 2 state championships, went to the BCHL up in Chilliwack, I think, and then USHL. Then freshman year at Northern Michigan, 13 goals, I think, last year as a freshman. Transfers to Michigan State, having an impact. Does he lead this team in goal scoring right now?
Right now, he had 9 goals, yep.
Third liner,
Savage, you would think Howard, you would think even Dorwart, Russell from last year, but no, it's Joey Larson, who basically was coming in, and it was like, okay, Larson's coming in. His other line mate, O'Connell, you thought, are these guys going to play? Because you didn't know that much about him. O'Connell's a freshman. And now here they are, and O'Connell's got those 3 times he scored 2 goals in 1 game. So where do those guys come from? Well, they were guys that were, the program, the staff liked to bring them in. One as a recruit, as a freshman. And O'Connell was actually going to go to Duluth. He was going to Minnesota Duluth. But when he was playing juniors, it was like Michigan State's out there. Maybe I should, change my commitment, decommit, and then come to Michigan State. And he's a Minnesota kid, and he thought he would play Minnesota hockey up there. But now he's just loving it because he's got an opportunity, and he's got a scoring touch that I think a lot of people didn't really know, but maybe the coaches did because they saw him in juniors that wasn't a star, but he was productive.
Meanwhile, Larson rifled that one. One timer.
I mean, that's a goal scorers type goal. And you shoot it, and all of a sudden the goalie makes a great save. But what does he do? He keeps right on track, keeps the net, and sees the rebound, and rifles it top corner. And it's like, oh, that's a goal scorer's goal.
A guy that went to Northern Michigan for 1 year. It's interesting to talk to him after the game. He mentioned he grew up in Heartland, grew up a Michigan State fan. Sure. So he's living a dream, literally.
Yeah.
As a 21-year-old sophomore. Scores a goal here, play the fight song, everybody's on their feet, standing room.
Family can come to all the games now. You have to travel to Northern or some of those places, Northern plays in the CCHA, stuff like that.
Seeing these guys, it's a Cinderella season of sorts.
It is.
You mentioned halfway point of the season right now. Michigan State number 7 in the country, Notre Dame number 20 in the country. Michigan State 11-4-2 overall, 6-1-2 in the Big Ten. Notre Dame falls to 4-3-2 in the Big Ten. But it's a top 20 college hockey game tonight.
Yeah, it was.
Sold out, and Michigan State ends up outshooting them by a big margin, 56-37. But, through about 2/3 of the game, Michigan State had maybe a 10-shot advantage. But I thought that Augustine was making the bigger saves, even though Michigan State was getting more shots.
Right, yeah.
I thought Augustine, the goalie, freshman goalie from South Lyon, I think it is, I thought that he made some really nice, steady goals, saves today, whether it be glove or a couple of kick saves. Went post to post on that one on the doorstep.
Well, that one in the third period, right in front of us here, that was a big save, and he made the save, and they got a whistle, and the crowd just stood up, and the big applause wasn't for the fact that they survived. It was for him. It was for Trey Augustine at that point, and that's why he was, I believe, voted the #1 star, because he kept the team in the game and in the lead, and then basically gave up 2 goals, but still he was like a factor. And then so were about 5, 6 other guys, but still Augustine is the backbone of the team right now.
You think so? So it's interesting that Michigan State can get 56 shots on goal against Notre Dame, a program that's known for preventing shots and clogging the middle and not preventing all this. How did Michigan State get that many shots?
Well, this was a matchup, Jim, of the highest scoring team in the Big Ten against the best defensive team in the Big Ten. So you figure it would be in the middle. You wouldn't figure each team would have all these shots, but it was like, for some reason, Michigan State was getting good looks, good shots, and obviously the goaltenders were busy. But that's a question mark, because Notre Dame, more than any team in the Big Ten and even in the country, they can shut you down defensively and just play back, and take a mistake and turn it into a goal. And suddenly you're thinking, we're playing great, we're getting these puck control things, and then they score 1 goal, and now we got to fight back. They frustrate you. And Notre Dame has had Michigan State's number for a long time, until last season when the Spartans finally beat them in the playoffs in South Bend. And they swept them here in February. So this was sort of a similar game, with the Spartans being opportunistic, finishing their chances, and getting big goals. But the question is, I bet you tomorrow the shots are way lower, and if the Spartans get 30, that would be good tomorrow night, as long as 3 or 4 go in.
I saw a stat today. I think Michigan State leads the nation in goal scoring this year. They're over 70 now. That was on the broadcast. I haven't double checked that, but I saw that on the broadcast. It's a team, Michigan State, the defensemen join the play a lot, and they're aggressive. Maybe earlier in the year they might have given up some flow back the other way, but not much tonight. There's a couple times Levshunov chased it down once, and I think maybe Sturback maybe chased it down once when it looked like it was an odd man rush, but the defensive speed getting back to shut it down. Levshunov tonight turned on the speed to do that, had the goal 4-on-4 early in the third period, comes into it with a sharp angle shot. If you don't know who Artyom Levshunov is, 18 years old, he's going to be eligible for the draft.
Belarus.
From Belarus, arguably one of the best 18-year-olds in the world.
Yep.
And he came to Michigan State for a lot of reasons. There's a good article about him on The Athletic. A guy that I think was geared toward probably playing in the OHL.
Yep.
But because he's from Belarus, there's a draft embargo type situation. Ends up in the college ranks. Ends up at Michigan State. Late addition to the class this summer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this summer. Yeah, no one knew where he was going. And Michigan was interested, so was I think BU, and even Vermont was interested because he knew a coach from there. And I thought, well, he's probably, and all of a sudden in mid-July they announced that he's coming to Michigan State, and it was like, what a get that is. And we didn't really know until we saw him over the first half of the season, and now we know why. And now we know why he'll be a first-round pick anywhere from 3, 4 to maybe 10 or 11. I don't think any further than that. But that's why you see scouts in this building and on the road with Michigan State all the time. NHL scouts, especially the ones that are not going to have great seasons, are going to be in the hunt for the draft lottery and maybe win that lottery, or even not go 5, 6, 7 and be able to pick them up.
And Steve Yzerman was here a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, he was.
Ostensibly watching him, and maybe Augustine a little bit because they've got him as property.
Sure, they're watching their prospects, and they're watching him too. But there are a lot of scouts here, and by the time we get to March, there's going to be so much conversation about where he can go, what kind of defenseman. And really, I don't think he started really that great. I thought he was just he only turned 18 on October 26th or 5th or so. So he's a young player. If he would have been born before September 15th, he would have been in last year's draft, and he would have been a high pick too. But now they get a better read on him for playing all this season as an 18-year-old. So he's a young kid, and he's going to make mistakes. But what they love, the physicality and the strength, and the physicality for a kid that's only 18 years old and 1 month or so.
And when he has to jump in a short area and cover ground quickly, he can cover it.
He can do it, yeah.
So he's got that. He's got the skill. He's got the
size.
and
he's one of the leaders in points in the country for defensemen. I mean, he's got 15, 16 assists now. He had a goal and assist tonight. So he's contributing both ways. I think the scouts will want to see what he can do defensively, but you can always teach that sort of, but you can't teach offense. That's got to come naturally, and that's there. So now to refine his game, he just has to keep keep working, playing games, and maybe he could come back next year and play a second year. Although some people think he gets drafted 5, 6, 7, the team that drafts him may want him to get him in their system. The only thing is, Jim, if they bring him in, if they can't play him in the NHL, they might have to send him to the minors. And the minors is not a place for a 19-year-old kid, because they're going to be challenged, and your skill. You better be in college, and of course he can't play in the OHL, which they normally could send him to because of the restrictions with Russia and Belarus.
Right, and you're talking about a world-class teenager there. Makes some mistakes, like you said. Like first game of the year, he threw that one in front from the corner.
Exactly.
In the Wisconsin game, he didn't follow it around the goal and gave up like kind of a so he's a young guy making young guy mistakes.
Well,
the talent is unbelievable.
As I told someone yesterday in a text, I said, he reminds me a little bit of what Duncan Keith went through as a freshman. Now, they're different players. Duncan is not as good defensively, more offensive, and not as strong and not as big. But Duncan Keith used to show his skills coming out of his own zone, and then the next time he'd come out of his own zone and he'd overskate the puck, and there'd be another player from the other team going in, boom, boom, boom. And Ron Mason used to shake his head, and we say, how good is he? He'd say, he's going to be a pro, don't worry, but it's going to take time. He was here a year and a half, went to the NHL, and in the same year, Duncan Keith won the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in college hockey. The same year, Ryan Miller won the Vezina as the best goalie. So for 1 year there, Michigan State had the 2 best goalies and defensemen in the world.
In the future, the grassroots were right here.
Exactly, grassroots were right here.
And we're starting, and some of these guys that are out here now are going to be blazing trails like that in the future. 5 of these players invited to World Juniors tryouts coming up in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be exciting, including Sturback. You know, Sturback, Maxim Sturback, the freshman defenseman from Slovakia, 6'2", 205. You know, I watched him earlier in the year, and okay, whatever. Second round draft pick, Tampa, I think. Buffalo.
Yep.
That's a guy, I don't know if you'd agree or not, but in the last 4 or 5 weeks has improved a lot.
He has,
physicality and just making, and he's getting a lot of ice time.
He's getting used to the he played in Green Bay last year, so he's got used to the junior game a little bit. But now he's getting used to it on the college level, which is obviously a different step. And he's not as
high ceiling on that.
High ceiling, you know. And I remember in the summertime listening to one of those on the NHL radio network. A lot of these Sunday night shows are about prospects.
Yes.
And they have these people, the draft experts on there, and scouts. And they were talking about him, and they said he'll be at Michigan State at least 3 years, and he's going to learn a little bit to get his offensive game, but right now he's a good defender, and it'll all come together. And you can see it.
Yes.
You know, Levshunov is high in the points, Sturback not so much, but Sturback, and he's also had junior experience because he was in the Worlds last year, and he will be with Slovakia again this year, so that'll help his game. Spartans will miss him in Grand Rapids for the Great Lakes tournament, but still, he'll be here 3 years. Levshunov, we don't know, but I know Sturback will be, and we'll be seeing that improvement from year to year. We're to the point where maybe as a junior, it's like, should I come back after this year, or should I sign and get my American Hockey League career going, or whatever? But we'll see. But if he's that good, Michigan State will take it, because that's what they really need in this program, is guys that are really skilled, highly recruited players, and also highly thought after by the NHL.
Yeah, it all goes together, doesn't it?
It does.
And the wins seem to follow.
And victories seem to follow. Your fan base seems to get excited. And next thing you know, and Michigan State's recruiting class, Jim, for next year is even considered better than this year's class. And they've got some really good players in there. And it's going to be interesting to see who comes in and who not. And I think Michigan State has like 19, 20 players committed over the next 2 or 3 years. And a lot of those kids aren't really coming now, maybe next year, maybe the year after. So there's some kids maybe not coming in here to the fall of like 2025.
There's a lot of buzz around town. You probably hear it. It built last year.
It was.
Hockey buzz around town.
Yeah.
If you live around here, you can hear it and sense it and feel it. You feel that also?
Yes. Even last year when Michigan State was playing and losing games or tying, the feeling walking out of this building were, wow, that was exciting. We're competitive. And they could score goals. And they did last year. They had this, Dorwart and Russell were considered players that were like, how are they going to fit in? Are they going to play? Are they going to start? Are they going to be scratchers? They're the best line. And it was entertaining. It was like competitive. And even though they finished 18-2, I think, overall. So that was good. They won a playoff series for the first time in years, and the first time ever in the Big Ten. And that helped. They went to Notre Dame, swept. and had to play Minnesota, which was like the best team in college hockey last year, to the last 2 minutes of the final game. But they went to Minnesota and they competed. They didn't win, but still, the positivities were there, and now fans were even thinking, this is going to be a big season. We're excited. So even before they played a game, the fan base was ready, and what we've had here is sellouts after sellouts.
Right. One more thing about Sturback. He's paired with Gucciardi now. Gucciardi missed a couple of series there a little bit. He's a veteran from Toronto, junior, venerable defenseman. So Sturback is getting his sea legs as a freshman.
Exactly.
Gucciardi's getting back in the lineup. Those two together, as technically your third defensive pairing. Again, the talent. When you pair Gucciardi with the second-round draft pick back there, I mean, to watch those two, that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night for Game 2 against Notre Dame. What are you thinking for that pairing and Game 2 Notre Dame? You know Notre Dame's a program, well drilled. You mentioned earlier the shots will be down tomorrow. Your thoughts about Michigan State trying to get a sweep against the Irish?
Well, I was impressed with Notre Dame's passing and the way they were creating chances. Like, this is not a team that's known for their offense. But a week ago tonight, they scored 6 goals against Michigan in a 6-1 win. Mm-hmm. The next night, they went back to 1 goal, lost 2-1. But still, they're a little more dangerous than I thought. And they don't have a lot of, they got one big score, and he's got 12 goals. Everybody else has got 4, 3, 2. So they don't score a lot, but they still had, I thought, good rushes, good presence in the offensive zone. They weren't just pushing it in and waiting for it. They weren't playing a trap necessarily like they used to play, or New Jersey Devils invented back in the 90s. 1995, when they beat the Red Wings, was a trap. So they're defensive, but they still take advantage of different opportunities, like a power play here and there. And yet, State, if they keep playing where they were tonight, and they're subtly good on defense, which they were, maybe even better, and don't take penalties. There's, especially in the third period, when suddenly a team can score a goal and suddenly get back in it, and next thing you know, you got a puck bouncing all around, it goes in the net, and you got a tie game or you're behind, and that's what Michigan State got to avoid.
It's December. It's hockey season. There should be hockey on campus right now, and there is. After this, there'll be a break, then GLI and a number of days off. But it's so great to have this type of series on campus in December. Football's done. No basketball. Basketball's at Nebraska on Sunday. A great time to get out and watch some hockey. Sold out though. I mean, it costs you a little bit to get in here these days, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun talking to Neil Koepke. It's great to see him as always. Neil, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks for everybody to tune in. Hey, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, go to SpartanMag.com, become a subscriber, $1 for a month. Subscribe to SpartanMag.com. For Neil Koepke, my name is Jim Comparoni. You've been watching the VCast from Munn Ice Arena with the Spartans for SpartanMag.com.